Alright, here we go. This is the PokerStrategy.com Team Liquid Star League. This is Game 2 of JF, the former TSL champion, against GosI Terran, the up-and-coming Terran player from Mexico. And the map destination, up at 12 o'clock, we have GosI Terran. Down at 6, we have JF. And there goes that quick probe. So we are definitely going to see a proxy or at least a quick gas steal.
One problem for Terrans on maps like this is that the Protoss can do a million different rushes. Actually, let me not exaggerate it. About 10 to 12 different types of rushes.
That's close enough to a million for me, Taste.
But look, you can make gateways in the guy's main. You can take his gas. You can make a gateway outside of his base. You can make a robo bay outside of his base. There's a lot of different things you can do. Okay, so here we go. Pylon outside of his base. But at the same time, GosI Terran is checking around. And is he going to spot it? Is he going to spot it?
Nope,
No.
He's not going to go that far. You know, an interesting thing to note, the SCV going out the wrong side of the bridge.
Oh,
Will
God,
he
this is pivotal.
catch it? No.
Oh, my
Looks like
God.
he's barely not caught it. But if we look at the wall-in area, now this is very interesting. It's going to come down to, can the probe block this wall-in area enough so that he cannot get the wall-in up? And, you know, I'm not sure, because the way that GosI Terran is setting up this wall, he should... Okay, he thinks that JF is going for a gas, so he gets the quicker geyser. This is going to slow down the entire wall in. This is really, 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 really good for JF right here.
JF's
and
been...
a Manor Pylon as
God.
well. I'm getting angry, Taste. Just hold me back.
I'm going to try to hold you back, man. Look, he's totally duping his opponent, but guess what? The barracks is still up there. It's going to come down to whether or not the Zealot can slip through the wall, and a lot of that is going to depend on how GosI Terran reacts to this. He has not spotted the proxy gateway, so this is all about how the Terran plays it out.
And we see the probe really putting a lot of effort into attacking the SCV that's making the barracks. If he can make him cancel... making that barracks for a little bit, slow it down a little bit, and be in the way of the wall, and that Zealot gets into the main base, then his lead is going to be almost insurmountable. So we're going to have to see how that goes down. I'm getting a little bit nervous here for poor GosI Terran. I really wish he'd send another SCV up. He thinks there is no proxy, but here comes that Zealot, and he's going to need to start that depot, man. It is very important. Here comes the Zealot, and this is crucial.
Oh!
Wow.
My God. You know what, though? Frankly, this is a big blunder by JF to actually waste the time putting that stupid Manor Pylon up in his opponent's main when he could have planted it where the barracks was. This actually could have been GG. This type of rush is almost unstoppable.
It is hard, man.
If you just stop
That
the barracks
Zealot
from getting
gets in
planted.
there, it is ridiculously hard. But it looks like he's going to have to repair this depot a lot. Oh no, the SCV jumps out on the wrong side, as always happens with SCVs.
Yes.
For some reason, JF not pressuring this depot. It's already so low on health, I'm actually really surprised he didn't.
This is a disappointing rush, actually, by JF. I feel like a lot of things went wrong here. And you know what? GosI Terran is handling this perfectly. A factory outside of his opponent's base.
Yeah, man, I really like this play, putting that factory down. If we take a look in JF's base, he's getting a cybernetics core. No gateway quite yet, but we can definitely expect a gateway to go up in JF's base pretty quickly here. But it looks like he wants to pressure the front with some really quick Dragoons. But I like what GosI Terran's doing here. I definitely feel he's going to take the lead with this proxy factory.
I know I've already said it once, but I can't tell you how disappointing it is to see JF, who clearly had the advantage with this rush, executed so poorly. It's all about stopping the Terran from walling in. Manor Pylon, if you get away with it, fine, but the whole point of the rush is to get the Zealots in there. Now he has a gateway outside of his opponent's base. Right now, GosI Terran responding perfectly by putting a factory outside of his own opponent's base. Well, I shouldn't say right outside, but, you know, at the right side of the map, where a gateway can't quite defend. If he gets one vulture in there, you can take out more than half of his opponent's probes. And that's all it takes.
Something huge just happened.
Yeah.
The probe just ran into an SCV outside the main base. That's going to let him know that something's going on. But this SCV, if it can draw the Dragoon into the main base instead of blocking the ramp, the Vulture can get in. And even with a Dragoon chasing a Vulture, this Vulture can do a huge amount of damage to the probe line. And the Dragoon not even done yet in the main base. In the meantime, oh man, I miss it up at the wall in. The Dragoon has been eliminated at that wall. A bunker going up. And right now, it's looking really great for GosI Terran. Look at this. 2 kills already on this Vulture. The Dragoon comes out, and if he just executes this Vulture perfectly, he's going to get a ton of probe kills, but he is not executing it perfectly, is he, Tasteless?
Not perfectly, but he is doing some damage. Well, I'm not sure if the second Dragoon is close to coming out yet. But if he does get that second Dragoon out, that's going to be what would nullify this. However, the second Vulture's still in the main. A lot of probes getting killed here. Remember, if you proxy gate outside your opponent's main, you're going to be dealing a lot of damage to your own economy by sacrificing the number of probes you would normally have. A pretty fair amount of damage being dealt here, but nothing mind-blowing. And as far as the front of JF's, GosI Terran's base goes, JF is not really dealing a ton of damage. The
oh
depot
my god,
goes
he
down.
kills the depot, but there is a bunker, there is a siege tank. Good SCV block right there. Chases those units away. But really what that did the most was supply cap poor GosI Terran. He's at 28 of 26 right now, and that's a painful place to be. He can't make any more units. He cannot make any SCVs. And he has floated the factory back into his main base. So while he's stabilized, JF's supply is still higher at 31 of 33. Meanwhile, 28 of 26 for GosI Terran here.
Somewhat of an even exchange. I guess this isn't what I guess you or I would have expected from this type of game on this map, especially when you consider the Protoss proxy gated. Terran put a factory outside of his opponent's base. We're kind of back to square one. Protoss does have a gateway outside of his opponent's main and is trying to expand right now, but I think we might see a pretty long game here.
Yeah, you know, it is, in fact, destination, so the game is definitely going to go long if it's even. And look at this, JF trying to run up and do some sort of bum rush. Doesn't work. Lands the barracks quick enough. Sorry, JF, no free win for you today. Proxy gating and trying to run up that ramp there. You know, 2 ways that he could end the game very fast, but it looks like everything is even. The command center, the Nexus going up at about the same time. Everything looks stabilized. No one looks like they can actually die. JF getting the robo. GosI Terran getting an engineering bay. So all said and done, things are looking relatively even. No one's going to kill each other quickly. JF taking that 3rd base. I think that we are in for, as you said, a much longer game than it originally looked with that early proxy gate.
Well, right now it's up to GosI Terran to try to figure out what is the best way to slip outside of my base. A lot of Terrans will get that starport, move it down with a drop ship, with maybe 2 tanks in there, with vultures, and try to get behind that expansion. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case, although there's still a window of time for him to do that. All we see from JF is him trying to push his opponent from expanding. But let's go back for a second. Let's go to that previous game where we saw JF actually out of position, out of intel, and still winning. He's saying that he's actually the superior player. Oh, and at the southern part of the map, we see him going for Reaver. So if JF does not get a starport and chase out that shuttle, it could be pretty bad. Ouch! Nice tank snipe, too.
GosI Terran getting a little bit too greedy with those tanks. Losing one, kind of a big deal right now. You know, he had superior units. Could have, in fact, even put on some serious pressure. You know, pop out a couple Marines, bring 5 or 6 siege tanks down, rally vultures, and pressure JF for expanding so quickly off so few units. Losing that siege tank will make the rush dramatically less powerful. But, you know, he may be able to do some damage with it still, just due to, you know, how mobile and how fast vultures are. You know, JF is really spread out. It's hard to defend all these locations at once. But, as you said, Tasteless, JF is getting a Reaver. He has a Reaver in a shuttle right now. And Reaver and shuttle and JF, man, this is actually getting me a little bit wiggly and jiggly. I'm kind of fearing for GosI Terran's life.
He does have the Dragoon and the Reaver instead of the double Zealots and the Reaver, and I think in this position it would probably be better if he had 2 Zealots. So this initial Dragoon is going to have to absorb a lot more of the damage. Dragoons, when it comes to against a tank, I mean, they die pretty quickly, even when the tanks are in unsiege mode. The turrets are up pretty well, so let's see. You never know, though. I mean, it only takes 1 or 2 Reaver shots to change everything. Here we go. Is he going to go for the tanks? He's actually getting a little risky here. Okay, he backs out. All he can do now is focus on gateways and probes and get 1 more Reaver, use the Reaver with the Dragoons to hold off any push. Because you get 2 Reavers with a few Dragoons, you can actually shoot down sometimes even 4 or 5 tanks. We don't see it, though, yet.
Okay, now we saw a nice move here by GosI Terran. He mined out the back, snuck out some vultures. JF has no idea as of yet, and he may be able to run in and with good execution. Oh, look at this! A Dragoon walks into the mines randomly and takes out 2 of the vultures through some mine splash. So nice little move there by JF. And oh, look at that! In the meantime, trying to do some Reaver harass, not really working out that well for him. Damages that siege tank up a bit, but I believe all the SCVs got away. Now, this Reaver, basically what it can do now is kind of slow down any pushes coming out of GosI Terran, and, you know, just kind of force him into some turrets.
So far, we've had a pretty intense game here. Looks like we see a pylon wall coming up here, and we did see one SCV get taken out here by a pretty good Reaver shot here. But again, probably not as much damage as you would have wanted.
No, not at all. Finally, GosI Terran taking out this proxy gateway and the pylon. You know, that stuff is annoying to have in front of your base. Jeff not using it anymore, but it is a good scout. In the meantime, let's see here. JF, a lot of Dragoons, defending very well that left-hand expansion. And
outside the front of his base here.
Look at this, a nice, oh, gets a good scarab off there, killing extra siege tanks.
This is the whole point of having a Reaver prevent a push here. This is pivotal because Terran can't afford to lose that many tanks this early.
Yeah, man, losing all these tanks, it is so painful. Terran versus Protoss is all about keeping siege tanks alive, and I gotta say, GosI Terran is just not ready for this level of Reaver play.
Well, I think GosI Terran's edging out a little bit too soon.
Yes, indeed. You know, edging out, and it looks like he really realizes he needs to get this third base up. JF getting ready to take that fourth in the bottom left.
What GosI Terran's focus is getting an additional base right now. I don't know if he's going to actually get that.
Yes, indeed. It looks like right now a lot of gateways being added on, and it looks like I don't know, man. JF. He's playing really, really well. I feel like he is ahead of GosI Terran right now, and I'm not sure exactly what he can do here to get back into the game.
Okay, we see Terran pushing out now. Reaver's gone. Unfortunately, it's out of the game. I don't think Terran has enough units to actually push this forward towards his base. He's going to get the third base up.
And it's really looking like GosI Terran is digging into the trenches. He's sitting down at a lowly 83 supply, building some supply depots in the middle, going to secure this base. He's teched up. He's got the 2 armories, both upgrading. He's got his science facility. The starport is up. No add-on quite yet. In the meantime, GosI Terran, I mean JF rather, he is just so far ahead macro-wise. He's got 131 supply. He's got basically enough. He might even be able to break GosI Terran pretty quickly here if GosI Terran doesn't reinforce and get some more mines up. But, you know, I think it's a little bit too risky for JF to try that right now, and instead he's going to have to play it a little bit more carefully, I believe.
Take a look here. Looks like actually JF was going to attack. I didn't expect this here. This is a very interesting play. It's kind of a timing attack here. I mean, we're almost 50 minutes into this game, but it could turn out to be very effective here. He's going to drop these zealots on the tanks, and I don't think they're... well, actually, excuse me, I don't think the zealots actually did enough damage. I thought more was going to happen there. JF has to back up. Did he carve a hole, though, into this location over here at the upper left?
It looks like he may have made a path to that expansion, but he's got to be careful. He goes in there with just pure Dragoon. The tanks can come up, and with careful movement, erase those Dragoons from the game without really taking a lot of damage in response. Right now, you know, he saved a decent amount of tanks there. Lost his Vultures, sure, but he got rid of the shuttle. He got rid of a lot of Zealots. And JF just now starting to mine from his 4th base. So this is not an unrecoverable position for GosI Terran, but it is kind of a difficult one. You know, I would not feel that comfortable being in this position against JF in GosI Terran's shoes here.
GosI Terran is in a little bit of a tricky position because JF's actually playing a tight, contained game. Even on a map like Destination, which is actually very, very, very hard to do. You can see it was even hard for him to actually control that entrance point to his expansion. You can see now GosI Terran does have control of that. Only moments ago, he pushed his opponent out of there. By the way, Starport's coming up now for the Protoss. So we're finally getting to the late game tech here. And it does look like it's, if we can get a shot of the Starports here, I believe it's at the expansion. main expansion. There it is. It's going to be carriers. So now is the chance. Does GosI Terran scan? This is kind of a weird spot on the map. If he scans this, he could push. If he doesn't scan it right away, and let's say about 6 to 5 carriers come out, this entire game could landslide out of control in JF's favor. There's no way he's ever going to get one of these bases over here, and if those carriers can get into the main, it's going to be tough to get those armories, but they can at least do damage elsewhere. It's going to be very, very, very hard for the Terran. So right now, all the pressure, kind of the reverse of what we saw previously, where it was all up to JF to scout out, an interesting tech or an expansion. This time it's up to GosI Terran.
Well, this is actually pretty interesting, the carrier switch from JF, that is. This is actually one of the best carrier timings I have ever seen in a game, because right now JF has this weird number of units after all these strange situations in the game where it's like, even if GosI Terran scans that, he's going to look at his unit count and be like, I don't really want to push right now. This is kind of an awkward push timing. It's going to be really hard to pull off. And look at this. Ooh, nice Vulture raid over at the left-hand side expansion there. A couple cannons and the Dragoons coming up, pushing those Vultures back. But, GosI Terran, he needs to do a push soon, but this is like a weird timing for him. So, I gotta hand it to JF. Great timing for him. He's taking another base in the meantime to put even more pressure into JF to actually, or rather GosI Terran, to actually make some sort of attack here.
We don't see air weapons coming into play, so if he does get Goliath out here, and he does spot this quickly enough, it could change the game. But again, right now it looks like this game is very slowly and steadily going to go into JF's favor, even though I don't think GosI Terran is fully aware of that. I think GosI Terran is probably feeling pretty comfy. By the way, the Panda Bear guy up here at GosI Terran's base up here at the upper left, we hadn't had a shot at him yet, but at the upper right, GosI Terran going for this expansion up there. Now, all that GosI Terran could do to stop this is to make an assload of turrets. He needs a ton of turrets because the map, of course, is longer, I should say taller than it is wide. If you look at the mini-map here, if he can make a ton of turrets and then switch to Goliath, he can push forward and take these two center expansions, the one at the left and the one at the right. Otherwise, I don't know what else he's going to do. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, I gotta say, Tasteless, I actually have to disagree with you this time. He sees the carriers, he knows they're there, he's making a lot of Goliaths. I think what he has to do, because a lot of carriers are coming into play, is throw away the defensive game. Just get really, really, really aggressive. We see he is expanding again. He's going to be up on 5 bases. What he needs to do is just add a few factories. He's got the +2 attack, +1 armor against just the +1 attack for ground units from from JF, and no plus air attacks quite yet. So what I think we need to see here is to just really a lot of pressure. Just get in there, start killing off JF's units. You have better upgrades. You have a lot of factories. Before the carrier count gets too high, there has to be a lot of pressure put onto JF. And I think that's what we're going to see here, because he has unsieged. He has a lot of Goliaths, but he's got to be careful. Do not lose extra siege tanks here, where we see JF trying to pick some off, but here come the Goliaths. And I'm actually feeling like it is possible for GosI Terran to take this game, but it's going to be hard for basically both players here. Both of them have a lot of resources coming in, and good upgrades against a really good unit mixture from JF.
Okay, we see the Terran now pushing out. This is actually the focal point of this entire game. This is what it's all boiled down to. Terran now moving across. He's in the Protoss's hood. Leapfrog sieging over here. Protoss moving southward. He has to back up a little bit. His carrier's what has to do the damage. He has to actually snipe these tanks. Goliath's in great position. What a game we're seeing here. Protoss trying to edge forward over here. It looks like actually Terran might have too many units, but a lot of this comes down to what the carriers can actually do, because if these Goliaths can't defend the tanks, the game's all over.
That's right. Now, the Zealots, as those get cleared up, the tanks will murder these Dragoons, but the Zealots taking forever to die. The perfect number of Zealots, and look at this. I am completely impressed. JF had exactly the right unit mixture in there, man. I said just before that, his unit mixture, it was brilliant, and the Zealots just stayed alive long enough that his Dragoons got in there, did the extra damage, and even though he has very little ground army left, he has killed the siege tanks of GosI Terran, and it's going to be hard for GosI Terran to replace all those. So, even though they've basically traded armies, we're going to have to look at a lot of different factors. Let's count the factories right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, we're not on Sesame Street, folks. All right, we
10
have
factories.
yes, Count Tastula, thank you. But in the meantime, JF a lot of gateways. He's still got the 3 Stargates pumping out carriers. And now High Templars are being produced, which is going to make it even harder than before. But nice, a Templar snipe with these Vultures down near the natural base. But, you know, I like the top right, how he's defended that. He's got enough turrets to slow down carriers, not stop them, obviously. Carriers are not stopped by turrets, LOL. But GosI Terran's upgrades right now, he's got 3-2. He's got the 10 factories. This is a really interesting position. The winner of the next battle, I think, is going to dictate who takes this game. You know, someone is going to have to just massacre the other player's army.
Okay, right now Terran taking both sides of the map. This is, again, what happens in late game. Protoss versus Terran. We do see the Protoss, by the way, at the center left here with the carriers attacking these Goliaths. Very nice cat and mouse game. He could bank over here and take out these 5 tanks. 1 tank down, make it 2. Actually, no, I'm kidding. LOL. He almost got 2. I think that tank's in the red health right now. But the carriers back off. But this is the 600-pound gorilla in the room that Terran is going to have to deal with. Is these carriers. But right now, Protoss is saying, wait a minute. If this game goes on for 5 more minutes, I don't have anywhere else to go to on the map.
Now, you know, I don't know, man. They both have so many units. GosI Terran almost maxed out, not quite. JF, he is maxed again. He's got 3 more carriers on the way, and it's just going to be so hard for GosI Terran to defend against all these cliffs with these carriers. He does not have enough Goliaths up here. He's got to be ripping interceptors apart and sniping carriers whenever he can. GosI Terran being too sloppy here. He has just parts of his army. JF with a ton of units in here going to clean this up, and this was horrible play by GosI Terran. He really needed to bring all of his units over. He needs to keep all of his units together against JF's ridiculous army right now, and he's just not doing that. So JF has just been given on a platter 1/3 of GosI Terran's army, and look at that nice Psy Storm all over the Goliaths there. It really looks to me now that JF is going to be able to take this game. He's hit this ridiculous number of carriers with more popping out, just coming up to reinforce, and I do not see GosI Terran have any chance to come back in this game.
Well, GosI Terran's anchor of advantage was in his position. He could just mass up turrets, put spider mines everywhere, and kind of turtle and just take half the map. And Protoss couldn't do much. But look at this surgical precision here of this base at the upper left-hand corner. But of course, the entire left-hand side of the map, which actually is wiping out his opponent's econ advantage. Great play. The command center is now gone. I think a huge part of the econ advantage is gone. And actually, the main base and a lot of these depots, the armory, everything else is a little bit vulnerable. Of course, the eBay is going to be picked off here momentarily. I think we're going to see GG any second.
Definitely. There's just nothing left for GosI Terran to do. You know, his unit movements this game just were completely poor. He lost too many siege tanks too many times. No reason for that sloppiness. You've got to be careful. You know, JF hasn't been as active this year as in the past.
Yeah.
But clearly, man, he still has the skills to pay the bills. And that's with Z's on the end of both of those.
LOLs. No, but seriously, I mean,
LULs.
No, but to be totally frank, I mean, he's playing this out very well. This is the point in time where Protoss has too many carriers for the Terran to actually do anything about it. I don't care how good you are. GosI Terran shouldn't have let this happen. He should have spent, how many minerals does he have? Let's click on the Terran percent. Almost 3k minerals. He should have spent that all on turrets so that these carriers couldn't have actually ebbed in there and sucked out whatever defensive force he had. So here we go. Carriers cleaning this up now. Terran really at a huge disadvantage. All Protoss has to do is not lose this fleet of carriers, maybe throw in a few observers in there with the carrier fleet. But overall, it's done, man.
Yeah, it is done. Just waiting for JF basically to clean up. A lot of siege tanks, though, coming down the left-hand side, trying to make some sort of last-ditch attempt to clear out some expansions. But JF's units, his ground units coming up, and tasteless, close your eyes. I don't want you to see Dragoons against Goliaths.
Man, this game is over. I can't believe this. Look, JF played really, really, really well. I mean, game 1, he certainly didn't have any type of advantage, econ or intel-wise. He still won.
Yeah, just the tech advantage there. And
yeah, certainly. And the same thing with game 2, though. I mean, he had a little bit of an advantage there as GG. But, wow, GosI Terran was playing pretty well. in JF really saying, look, man, I can take on almost any situation.
That's right. So I gotta say, I think JF played brilliantly, and I'm quite impressed with that. But GosI Terran also made a lot of mistakes, and now with JF in a 2-0 lead, GosI Terran really felt like he'd be able to take this match. I think a lot of people did. His Terran vs Protoss these days is really top notch. So it's really a situation where I think this guy is going to be really stressed out, really pressured, and add that to how good JF really is, and we have the perfect storm of GosI Terran losing this match. Well, let's take a look at the next map. It's going to be Outsider.
Outsider is a very interesting map. You can't use your normal build orders on it. Going back to the previous two games we saw, we've actually seen some of the highest level kind of epic battle games you would expect. It's no longer about, well, somebody opened up with this and this guy responded with this. It's actually become a very dynamic series so far. JF clearly winning, and he certainly deserved those wins because those are not situations that are easy for Protoss to play from either of those two games. But you know what? Still, I think GosI Terran has a chance. I mean, he's putting up one hell of a fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't count GosI Terran out until I see JF hide something and he not scout it. It's definitely until JF has won the last game, in an insurmountable position, I would not count out GosI Terran. Very, very strong player. But can he do it under this sort of pressure? Can he do it on this Outsider map, which is a very good Protoss vs Terran map? And in fact, after this, well, if GosI Terran wins, he's going to have to finish it up on Andromeda, which is a very Protoss favored map. So, who knows, man? But I got to say one thing. The games this week, a lot better than the games last week. Last week, everything was 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-1. This week, we had that 3-2 with White Raw versus Cabal. And here we are on Game 3, JF winning. It might be a 3-0, yeah, but the games, at least, they are long, and they are pretty good, man.
They're pretty educational as well. I mean, I know all you guys at home, a lot of you might not be the highest ranked StarCraft players. A lot of you guys are D or D- players. Nothing wrong with that. The series we've seen so far has really shown you how to play in situations. Shown you how to be like, okay, well, we have an interesting series of events that's occurred. Let's try to use 100% of our brains and wiggle our way out of that. And I think these games have been great for that. So I look forward to game number 3 on Outsider.
All right, well, let's get this game started. I really want to see, can GosI Terran launch some sort of comeback, or will JF return to the Foreigner scene with an absolutely dominating 3-0? Let's go.